This video, we're going to be looking at the actual first character that I played through during my first time loading up Borderlands 4, which is Ama. This is going to be a very easy to play build for just your entirety of leveling. This is going to be very good once you're done with the campaign. Well, one, it's just going to be good for bossing and the campaign, like just everything about it. But two, once you're done with the campaign and you're trying to level up to 50, the main two ways of doing so are drills and bounties. This is going to excel at the bounty portion of that. I wouldn't really do drills to level on this guy. You're going to want to be bounty spamming. This way, we can, because you're essentially going to be fighting just like little badasses and vile enemies, and you just insta freeze them. Like, you insta freeze everything with this build, and it makes just doing free damage, like up close and personal, free crits. The survivability is insane because of it. Like, you just single out, whatever enemy is going to be doing the most damage. So a badass, throw one axe at them, they instantly freeze. They unfreeze, you throw another one, instantly freeze again. There's no cooldown. Like, it's seriously so strong what you can do with these axes. And then when you get to bosses, you can swap to like a different augment. We're going to talk about all of this here in just a moment. But yeah, there's a lot of versatility with what you can do. You can focus on mobbing, bossing, and you deal a ton of bonus damage. It has one of the strongest like single skill nodes that I've used so far in the game, which we'll also talk about. And there's just a lot of really cool things you can do, and it's very easy to put together. You can use basically whatever weapons you want with it. I'm just gonna be using like the strongest stuff that I've found so far, just so you guys have the easiest time leveling. But feel free to use whatever weapons you want. Otherwise, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure you are subscribed. I have a ton of more Borderlands 4 content. If you want to help me hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, that would be awesome. Just go ahead and click the subscribe button. Seriously, like, thank you so much. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this Amon build. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the skill trees. Unfortunately, I can't show you a level 50 right now. I'm just on a level 30. But I can still walk you through each skills all the way up until 50 just because I know them very well here. So we're going to be starting off with our green tree with Crucible. You're going to be summoning a flame and cryo axe. Early on, you can use the fire one, but eventually you're essentially only going to be using the cryo one just because you can get the freeze later on with our augments. But to start us out, I would go get the loadout for the reload speed. This is very, very handy. Basically, I've said in all of my leveling guides is I'm a huge Jacob's shotgun fan here in Borderlands 4, so I really do like to have that reload speed. Helps out your DPS output quite a bit. So we're going to be going into our first 5 points into get the loadout. Even if you're not using Jacob's shotgun, reload speed early on is so, so helpful. So I'll start there. Then we go into bolt action. So whenever you reload, your guns gain bonus shock damage 30% for 4 seconds. So if you're using the one-shot Jacob shotgun, like I said, you're noticing a trend here. You always have that 30% bonus shock damage. Shields are just essentially no longer a thing to you. Very powerful. You have this active at all times. If you use like something that uses magazines very quickly, you pair that with the reload and you're good to go. From here, I like to focus on the crit damage here with Executioner. So you can get 15% base, and after you deal melee damage, so after you throw an axe at somebody, that's going to go up to 30%. These three are my favorite. You can go into the Herald's Call. If you're using like a shock weapon, you can put it into Herald's Call instead of Executioner, but it's totally up to you what you do with those 5 and kind of dependent on your gear. For your augment at this point, put on Endless War. So every time you hit an enemy with an axe, they're going to become primed. For every stack of prime, they're going to be taking increased gun damage. It's going to stack up. There's a cooldown in 2 seconds, so kind of space them out. But yeah, you can get a ton of extra gun damage on the target. But with these 15 points, you're going to unlock this first row of subtrees. And this is where you can actually swap into the augment Searing Cold. So Frost Axes apply freeze on impact. Flame Axes now pass through enemies. I don't really throw the Flame Axes. I essentially just freeze targets. You can use both. Use them how you see fit. But the freezing is seriously so strong. I cannot stress that enough. It is so good. You can just barrel stuff them. Hit every pellet crit if you're using a shotgun, just right up in their face. It's so good. But for the actual like skill point investment at this point in the subtrees, we're going to be going into the middle because we can get Blast Furnace. So whenever Amon or his Forge drones, we're not using Forge drones, but whenever Amon critically hits or causes a detonation, you gain increased damage dealt for duration. The detonation is going to give you multiple stacks, so that is a benefit to using like the fire axes, but that is just, you don't really need it. Every pellet from a shotgun is going to give you a stack. So there's 30 stacks. You shoot a couple times with a shotgun. On crits, you freeze them, barrel stuff them, hit all 6, 10 pellets, whatever you end up having. And it's going to give you that many stacks. It's very powerful. But for the node that makes this just truly insane when combined with our gear for one-shotting bosses, like you'll be one-shotting bosses left and right if you copy this setup, is lightning rod. So Amon's gunshots have a chance on critical hit to spawn an elemental bolt dealing shock damage. And I do have a class mod with this. There's going to be a specific class mod that can boost this. So you can get 10 out of 5 if you get really lucky. And that would end up being 300% of the damage you dealt is now going to be an elemental shock bolt that hits the target on top of the damage you did already. Like, it is so powerful. This will be the biggest number you see, especially hitting a shield. Like, it's nuts. This is such a good skill for one-shotting bosses. And when you pair that with our weapons, it's going to be very good. Now, from here, I would like to spec into the Thrill. This is a great survivability skill. It gives you a ton of missing health regen. So it's going to keep you above that health gate very often and prevent you from, spamming rep kits and needing rep kits quite as often. It's going to keep you alive, which I find very helpful. But once you get those 3 points is where we're going to start going into Red Tree. Now, unfortunately, like I said, don't have them spec'd right now because I'm only level 30 on this particular Amon that I have to show you. But I can tell you exactly what you need. So first 3 points go into Impetus for the shield regen rate, but mainly the movement speed. Just being able to get around quicker is very helpful. Now, if you're using a fire weapon, do 2 points into what burns within. Otherwise, do 2 points into heavy plate for shield capacity and over shield capacity. Something a little helpful. We're not going to be really meleeing that much. You can, if you're using the axes for damage a little bit, you can do 2 points there. Kind of do whatever you want with the 2 just to move down. Now, from here, you can do like status effect damage, but the main one is going to be gut punch. So melee and ordnance damage have a chance to apply weakness to the enemy. This is going to lower their damage output and make them take more damage. Increasing the points in here is going to increase the chance of those things happening. So our axes are melee. So boom, free chances right there. Pretty good chance. So you get a bunch of extra damage taken by the enemy. Now you can either just continue putting after these 3 points, 2 points into whatever you put here. So heavy plating, what burns within. You can go into status effect stuff if you have a good elemental weapon. Completely up to you. Once again, what you do with those 2 points. But down here is where we're going to get forged in steel. So whenever you use a forge skill, you're going to become immune to all damage. So forge skill is Amon's trait. So whatever axe skill he has, he's going to have a different forge skill. In the sake of Crucible, he's going to put both axes together and throw them. This has a 30-second cooldown. Something you may have noticed is we do not have a capstone equipped because the capstone that we have unlocked is Storm Surge. This is actually going to be a detriment to our build once we have Forged in Steel. If you want to put it on right away, you can until you get Forged in Steel. Once you have this node, take it off. It's going to hurt your setup because the duration is 18. Well, one, the cooldown goes up by 5 seconds. So instead of 30, it's 35 seconds. But that cooldown also doesn't start until that 18-second static field duration is up. So you can just barely ever get that immunity. So that's why I do recommend taking off the capstone with this build. But yeah, this is awesome, especially paired with the weapons that we're going to be using and the whole barrel stuffing technique. You can essentially just guaranteed hit massive crits on explosive damage and not down yourself. When you use this, it's awesome for bossing. And then the other 4 points can go into Bullet Storm. So whenever you apply a status effect, you gain increased gun damage for a duration. So it does help if you are using a elemental weapon. If you're not and not applying any status effects, you can do like cooldown rate for your action skill. That way you can just spam your axes at your heart's content. Feel free to put the 4 points in either of those two, whatever you want. Now with our remaining points, we're going to be going down into Berserk. So whenever you activate a Forge skill, you become Berserk for a duration, gaining slow immunity and bonus cryo damage with your guns and melee. This is going to go up to 30% for 15 seconds. So you pair this with that, works out pretty well. So you barrel stuff the enemy. Now you have bonus cryo as well for the extra damage against armor and just overall extra damage. And then with your remaining point, you can put it into There's Only Red to boost that bonus cryo damage up even further. If you want to focus purely into damage, take the 2 points out of the Thrill. So just leave 1 in here and put the 2 into There's Only Red to max that out. But it's completely up to you if you want survivability versus damage. This is a kill skill, so it's not always going to be active and working in like boss fights to stack it up. But you can do that just because of the amount of mobs in boss fights. But most of the time, the boss is going to be dead already because you one-shot them. You just activate your Forge skill and barrel stuff them, and they're dead. So yeah, That's essentially going to be your skill tree setup, and I find out this works very well. Now, taking a look at the gear, the weapons that you're really going to be looking for is shotguns, pair very well with this build. So Jacob's shotguns. This one has a big magazine, which kind of stinks. You can get these Dullahans in like one shot, just one in the mag, reloaded after every shot. Those are personally my favorite, especially with the amount of reload speed we have. But then the big thing for dealing like major boss damage, if you see it says Alt Fire Spread Launcher, this is going to be easily like one of the strongest things in the entire game across the board for any character. They are seriously unfathomably strong. I have versions of this at level 50 that do 28,000 times 5 as their base damage. So when you pair that with our green tree skill Lightning Rod, it's going to deal so much damage. And there's 5, so you're basically guaranteed to get one of them. If you hit all crits, you're essentially guaranteed to get one of them to call in a lightning bolt and deal even more damage. So the synergy there is crazy. Keep an eye out for this. It will carry you for so long. Another weapon type you can use is Malon shotguns with the beam tosser. These are also very strong, especially against big bosses, because essentially bores through the enemies, bounces off of walls. You can get them in different elements depending on what boss you need to be farming. So keep an eye out for these, but essentially those are going to be your best bets in terms of weapons. Now on your rep kits, what you're going to be looking for is amp. So this combined with that spread launcher and lightning rod is essentially where you're getting the one shot. Almost any boss, if you have on level gear, you're going to one shot them. It's crazy. So looking out for amp, that's your number one priority. Once you get amp, look out for amp with the order manufacturer. So you get 2 charges of it. The 2 charges is just easily the best rep kit like manufacturer. So keep an eye out for that. Then from there, you can look for like splash damage, action skill cooldown rate, anything like that. More healing on the rep kits as like the 3rd perk. But amp, order are your top 2 you want to be looking out for. In terms of your class mods, you're going to be looking out for Stormcaller right here. Then you're essentially just going to be looking for a +5 into lightning round. So that is the lightning bolt with the 2 bullets coming out of the side. So like this one has +2, this one has +1. So just keep it out for the best one of those you can find. Then you can go into like reload speed or the other lightning bolt for just boosting lightning damage. It's kind of up to you which one you find. Well, not which one you find, but which one you use. They can be pretty rare. I'm not going to lie to you. When I've been playing Amon, I very rarely find these. So when you do find them, hold on to it. It's going to last you for quite a while. And just see if you get lucky on the lightning rod aspect of it. The shield doesn't matter too much. Do something maybe movement speed. It's completely up to you. Just use whatever you're finding throughout the story. It doesn't matter too much. Fireworks shield is just universal. Great leveling legendary shield that you get at the very start of the game from the tutorial boss if you farm him enough times. So that's a great option. In terms of enhancements, something Jacob's. I don't have one right now on this character, but there's Jacob's 20% chance to crit. That's going to help out your like chance of lightning rod if you miss a crit. There's stacking crit on crits with Jacob's. That's another great one if you get really good like aim and get used to the spread launcher, barrel stuffing a little bit later on once you're in red tree and don't blow yourself up. Then for ordinances, ideally look for a Jacob's knife with a damage amp payload so that target takes increased damage. Now there's an augment, so this one has suppressor augment, which reduces their damage dealt. There's a different augment that makes all your hits against that enemy guaranteed critical hits for 5 seconds. Penetrator augment is its name. Keep an eye out for that. When you find it, keep it forever. Find it at level 1, keep it forever. Use it at level 50 until obviously you get a level 50 version. But still, even then, keep that if you make a new character. It's the best ordnance in the entire game across the board, unless you're doing purely a grenade build and you wanted to be doing grenade damage. It's like the only time you wouldn't use that. It's seriously the best. You're going to want it. So just keep an eye out for that. It's really going to help out your consistency with one-shotting bosses. If you don't one-shot a boss, it's because you missed a crit. And even then, once you do have that knife with the penetrator augment, still aim for the boss's actual crit spot because you still will do a bit more damage. It's not like a true 1-to-1 crit with that, but it still, over doubles your damage when hitting the body. That's normally not a crit when you have that penetrator augment. So just keep an eye out for that. And you put all those things together, you're going to be one-shotting any boss badass you come across. Yeah, that's our full Amon leveling guide. I have this entire guide written over on Maxroll. I'll have a link for it in the description. So if you want to check that out, there's a ton of leveling guides over on Maxroll from me and the rest of the team. So whoever you're playing, if you want to check out my videos for the leveling guides, you can use those. Some other people on the team did a little bit different leveling methods. So whatever you think fits your playstyle best, we got you covered. There's a ton of resources there as well. If you want a list of firmware, legendary, I mean, there's everything. Maxroll will be your one-stop shop for everything Borderlands 4 for me and the rest of the team. So if you guys want to head over there, make sure you have it bookmarked somewhere because you're going to be using it a lot. Any build that I post, I'll have like planners and stuff like that on there as well. So make sure you guys have that saved. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for watching this far in the video. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully this video helped you out in your Amon leveling journey. If you want to help me hit 100,000 subscribers, really would appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button. But yeah, hope you all have a fantastic day. Happy playing Borderlands 4. Finally, Borderlands 4 launch. Thank goodness. Yeah, have a good rest of your day. See ya.